All right. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of How I Came Into the Truth. Today we have Sister Sydney. I'd like to first and foremost thank you for coming by to share your story with us. And what I like to do is I like to at least give the guests an opportunity to introduce themselves. Like a minute or so. Just.
Sydney Cannon. Just got married in March of this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Number 2 of 6 kids. From New Orleans originally. Moved to Houston after Katrina, then been here in Atlanta ever since. Kind of ever since, besides college, whatever. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay. So you just got married, eh?
Yes.
Okay, so how's that?
It's great.
It's
great, yeah.
That's good, especially good when you do it according to the Bible.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely a blessing, man. Because around here we promote that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We promote marriage and longevity, to death do you part, and hopefully y'all can walk into the kingdom of God.
We're willing.
Yes, absolutely. So, you said from New Orleans, right?
Yes.
Okay. How long you been here in Atlanta?
Since 2006.
2006?
Yeah, because the storm happened in 2005.
Right.
We stayed in Houston after that for a little bit, finished out the school year. Then we moved to Atlanta and been here since. Ended up doing 8th grade here all the way to 12th grade to graduation. So. Okay,
so you were you was young.
I was 11.
When y'all left?
Yes, I was 11.
Right?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Oh, so you was,
yeah, I was in middle school. I was in 7th grade.
Wait a minute. At 11?
Yeah. I started school at 3, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. So you moved through it fast.
Yeah.
Okay. So how was it growing up in the... Huh?
So that was 11. I'm trying to make sure.
Because 7th grade, I think around 12, sometimes 13, depending on...
My birthday late, and, so.
Oh, okay.
And I started school early. So.
Yeah, so you got out. Now you kind of got life.
Yeah.
Kind of chill a little bit, right?
A little bit.
Right. So how was it coming up in New Orleans?
It was cool. I mean, it was until I was like 8 or something like that, we was living in the city, in the East or whatever. Grew up playing outside with my sisters, my brother, and my mom's side of the family is from the country, well, what I call the country, but it's like a little bit outside of New Orleans, in St. Charles Parish. So we would go out there in the summertime, to hang with my cousins and live the country life, all that type of stuff. So, and then go back to my dad's side and with the city people and where we lived. And then literally, I wasn't even 8 because it was the year before Katrina. We moved to the country. We moved to St. Charles Parish too. And, we lived out there, living in the country, still same thing, riding my bikes, eat snowballs. Everything unclean, living my best life. Right. I feel like I had a pretty fun childhood.
That's good. Because sometimes if you don't actually live in that particular area, you don't really know it. And that's just like any major city. You have bad sides of town, but at a lot of times you do have some of the older people that kind of keep things in line a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But how was it? So for the most part, coming up, everything was pretty cool. Yeah,
even if it wasn't, my parents didn't show that it wasn't. Right. They didn't let us know. Right. So in my mind, we had a great childhood. So even when we was living in the projects or whatever, it wasn't nothing abnormal to me. And then when we did move to our house and stuff like that,
what projects were you?
It's called what they call it, the Goose in the East. But
so it wasn't like the Magnolia.
No, it's not. It's not one of them. It's
right?
not one of them big, well known. But it's just a small hood in the East.
That was glamorized.
Yeah,
everybody wanted to move to the Magnolia.
But no, didn't live that lifestyle. Didn't live that, and that was only a short time in my life. Where I couldn't even remember toddler age and stuff like that. But then we moved to our house still in the East. So
now so of course, Katrina, definitely a major event that took place in America.
Yes.
And I got here in December 04, early 2005, when I knew I was gonna be here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it happened that year.
Right.
And then we saw like an influx of people, man. Right. I mean, it it was
we take it over everywhere we went.
I mean, it was, huh?
So it took over everywhere we went.
Yeah, because just to see the people here, like when they came, I mean, we saw regular people like ourselves. I mean, even on flat shows on the corner, I mean, families, man, asking for help. That was one of the saddest thing I ever seen in my life.
Right.
But you happen to be in that.
Yeah.
As a kid, so
yeah.
How was that?
So I remember like when we were leaving, we were getting ready to leave for the storm. We originally weren't gonna leave, and that's when we had just moved to St. Charles Parish, and we were selling our house in Orleans Parish, which is in the east. And my dad was like, "Well, we could just go camp out at the house in the east, and the east flooded, it completely flooded." And then like the day before, on the 28th. They had the sirens going off, telling everybody leave. There's fire trucks riding down each street, telling everybody to leave. So at that point, my daddy woke up. My daddy and my mom woke up. They was like, all right, we gonna go. We gotta leave. So they boarded up the house, tried to call. My daddy calling all of his siblings. My mom calling all of her siblings. Let's go. We gotta get out of here. But we all ended up leaving. It's everybody except for my aunt. Because she was working for NOPD and she was a dispatcher, so she stayed through it. But we got on the road, went to Houston, tried to go to Houston. That was like the longest ride ever. We ended up getting separated. I remember thankfully my mama, she's from St. Charles Parish, so she knew a lot of back roads to get to the interstate, because the interstates was jam packed. So we had to hit as many back roads as we can trying to get to Houston.
Well, you said now you come from a pretty nice sized family, right? And it was 4 y'all in the house.
Yeah, it was 4 of us.
The parents, the other 2,
not including the parents. It was 4 kids, actually 5 kids, because my mom and dad had legally adopted my cousin at that time. So it was 5 of us in our house plus our dog and my mom and my daddy.
So it's like 8.
Yeah, 8 of us in one house.
How was that trying to get on the highway?
That was crazy. Yeah, we had everybody lined up at our house. Everybody, because going from New Orleans to Houston, you have to go through Baton Rouge area. You have to go through, and St. Charles Parish is on the way to Baton Rouge. So everybody came to our house. And we lined up basically, my mom was the leader of the pack, because she knew most of the back roads, and before GPS and stuff like that. So we just trying to hit and run. Once we hit traffic, we was okay, we could go another way or this way. I just remember just riding, being in the car like this in my mom's Suburban with and we didn't pack a lot because we evacuated for hurricanes all the time, or didn't. So we packed I was just well, yeah, I got a project due. I got to do the project because the storm coming. That's my kid mindset. We only pack 3 days. Yeah, 3 days worth of clothes, just a few things, and just head on out.
Now at this point, the hurricane was already gone, wasn't it?
No, the hurricane was coming.
So you left before the hurricane came?
Yeah, the hurricane was coming.
The flood came afterwards.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a surge, but
how the levees broke. Yeah, the whole everything.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But the hurricane was coming still.
So is it true that once the hurricane came, it was kind of calm? Afterwards?
I wasn't,
y'all was already gone.
Yeah, we was already gone. I just remember once we got to Houston, we went to all the hotel rooms was booked, so we was at this motel. Half of us was at a motel, and then another half, one of my uncles lived in Houston, and he just had a 2-bedroom apartment, and so we probably had 12 of us in his apartment and in these little rinky-dink motel rooms.
So that, and y'all kind of got
we
still
stayed,
kind of stayed together, but y'all split up a little bit.
Stayed there, and then I just remember my mama talking to my auntie, and she's just the water rising, and now granted she works for NOPD, and Orleans Parish is where flooded and stuff like that. So I just remember her talking. She was they was trying to go over to Jefferson Parish because, part of the city flooded and part of the city didn't.
Right.
Jefferson Parish where the white people, stay.
Right. They were trying to stop them from coming over there, right?
And even my aunt who works for NOPD, they had, guns drawn and everything. Y'all not coming over here. and they just, you know,
Amazing.
the water's rising, and she
And
just
they
in
wouldn't
the
let the blacks over there.
and like, you know, she was just like, my phone's dying, and then, you know, when storms comes, the towers for phones, they all messed up, so you never know. And then like my grandfather and my aunt's kids that work for NOPD, they only made it to Baton Rouge because they tried to leave later than us, and the traffic was just crazy. So they just ended up staying in Baton Rouge with my cousin, who was in college at the time, and, you know, talking to their mom. And like at that point, my grandpa, he's like, well, my daughter is in the city. I'm going back to the city. I gotta go save her. I gotta go help her, do what I can. And my mama in Houston too, she's like, well, my sister out there, I gotta go save her. Thankfully, you know, but once you drive, you can only go so far.
Right.
So,
right.
but you know,
kind of direct the traffic.
So you can't, and then like you're gonna hit water at one point. So you know, you can't drive but so far. So my daddy didn't let my mama go, but my grandpa and them, they tried to go, and you know, but you can't even reach her for the most part, you know.
So this was the sister on NOPD?
Yeah. Wow,
so they had no way to contact her?
We didn't have contact with her. I don't remember exactly how many days, but it was a good amount of time. And my grandpa and my cousins ended up going back, and they still didn't have no electricity, no water, and stuff like that, because in St. Charles Parish, it didn't flood. It just was a lot of wind damage and, you know, stuff like that.
Did they ever find her?
Yeah, we found her. Yeah, we found her eventually, and, you know, this is the same. I just feel like things have been different for her since then. This is the same aunt that is in the hospital, that was in the hospital. So, you know, but things physically, you know, mentally, it's been different.
Well, that's a traumatic experience. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And especially her being on the front line.
Right.
You know, so it probably did something to her.
Yeah.
And then the people you help,
right,
you know, point guns or pull guns on you, and don't, at that point when it's in a situation like that, it's almost like every man for himself. So all the service that you done did for this community, it don't even matter no more. Yeah,
everybody was just one, you know, they tried to, she said, I remember her telling us, like, you know, the inmates that was in the jails, they kept trying to just bring them up to a different level, but at one point, you know, what can you do? Everybody got to go. So
they let him out?
I don't know if they let him out, but I was like, you know, everybody was just, you can't confine everybody when there's nowhere to confine them to. Everybody trying to save themselves. So, you know, it's just, like you said, kind of every man for himself. Yeah. Like, so.
So what happened from Houston?
Houston.
So because was Houston more like kind of crowded, or everybody went there? So because it was a migration,
right,
from New Orleans in a sense to Atlanta,
right.
And how did that take place?
So we went to Houston, and I feel like most of, I don't want to say most everybody because I don't know everybody, but a lot of people went to Houston because that's just, it's closer, and it's still a big city, and, you know, it's one of the places that we go when we evacuate, and the storm was going the opposite way from Houston, so it was just like, okay, you know, it was projected not to go that way to Houston. So you know, it was a lot. There was a lot of people. When my mom, like, soon as we realized, like, okay, we can't go back home, my mama, like, enrolled us in the schools in Houston. She was just really? Like, so we went to all the stuff that FEMA was offering. I remember they had, like, I think it's the Astrodome in Houston or whatever, and they had, like, a thing for refugees for us to go over there. We went for the refugees. I remember going in there. We did all, like, I have glasses and everything. I wear glasses or whatever. So we did eye prescriptions. They just gave us all types of tests, and we just, like, ran, you know, it was like it looked like a whole refugee camp in a sense. Wow. Like, it had some people who really didn't have
cots in there too.
Yeah, they had for people who didn't have anywhere to go. People was living in their whole families in cots and everything. Thankfully, we had somewhere to go, so we would just go and get what we need and then leave.
Yeah, we fell for you guys actually, I think we were the beta test in 99, 2000. Yeah. They were projecting a huge hurricane coming to Jacksonville. So me and Malia and the kids at that time, we went up to Savannah. Her parents were father was in the military at the time in Fort Stewart. So they scared everybody so bad that all of us left and went to Macon.
Yeah.
But that's when they turned the highways. Everything went one way. Then we ended up getting into a Coliseum, sleeping in the Coliseum on the cots and stuff like that. And nothing happened.
Right.
So it seemed like it was a beta test or a test for what actually took place in
It was,
05.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was crazy, like thinking back at, like, again, my child brain is just like, okay, like my parents, they would explain things, they would explain some things, but they would shelter us a lot from, you know, a lot of
keep you sheltered.
Keep you in a child's place in a sense.
Right.
So,
Well, you ain't got to worry about that. Just trust us.
She's just like, okay, you know, well, this is what's happening. We talked to your auntie. She's fine. She's gonna be fine. And we're gonna get y'all in schools. You know, we gonna get y'all in schools. And thankfully, I don't know what my mama, like, she said just last minute, she just decided she used to keep this this little binder full of all of our, like, passports, our birth certificates, like all of that. So she was able to hold, you know, as soon as she realized we can't come back.
When y'all left.
She was just like, something just said, just grab it. But again, we still didn't think it. We never grabbed stuff like that.
Right, because a lot of stuff happens.
Yeah.
Hurricanes come through.
And sometimes we would be outside grilling. So
sound like us.
So, you know, we just like, okay, depending on what category it's gonna be, you know.
Right. You base your decision.
You know how we do. So, you know, but that time she just grabbed everything. She even had down to, like, our test scores from, like, state tests from, you know, from the LEAP and stuff like that. So thankfully when we got there, she was just like, okay.
It was easy.
Yeah, I felt like we was like one of the first people at my school, in middle school from New Orleans. There was me and this other girl I remember, and, you know, everybody's just like, are you okay? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. I don't know, you know. It was like, yeah, I'm fine. And, like, I remember the teachers making accommodations for us. And I remember, like, just one specific class, I had to take Texas history. I don't remember nothing from Texas history because that lady just passed us. So, yeah, so she was just like, I guess, you know, people was feeling bad, you know, push you on through. And it's
and it hurt. I think a lot of people a lot of people felt that.
Yeah.
Even though we weren't there, we felt it because we saw people coming. I mean, it was a sight.
It's crazy.
To see,
it was the first time I saw my grandmother cry. Like, because we just watching it on TV, and she's just like, you know, they showing where her house was, you know, and and so
your house got covered.
Well, her house, because remember we had moved to St. Charles Parish, so our house in St. Charles Parish only had like a little water, wind damage, not water, no water damage, so just roof patches and stuff like that. But our house in the city, where my daddy said, like, let's go camp out, completely flooded. No, you can't even see because it's a 1-story house.
What happened to it? Now your grandmother's house probably got destroyed, right?
Yeah, my grandma's house, our house that we were selling in the east got completely destroyed. Like our family house, like my grandfather and his siblings built a house in the east, like
keeping the family.
Yeah, to keep in the family. We still in the family today, but that house was completely flooded. And you know,
so what happened to your father's house?
The one that we were selling flooded.
The one in the city.
The one in the city flooded.
That's the one he was selling?
Yes.
And that's the one he said, let's go back to?
Yes, that's the one he said, let's go camp out. Yeah. And there was nothing, like literally nothing in there. Because like a few weeks before, my mama had us in there cleaning up everything. Because my mom was a real estate agent too at the time. So she's getting ready to close. You know. And so we cleaned it up. She was like, there was going to be nothing in there. She was like, well, we could just do that, you know. We could go out there and camp it out.
Man,
thank God we didn't.
Wow.
Yeah, thank God we didn't.
Well, I'm glad you guys made it through it because it definitely was a bad time, you know, but the Lord kept his people.
Right.
So thank God for that. But coming from Houston, now, how long you stayed in Houston?
Just that year.
Yeah, because you came here
in 8th grade. I finished 7th grade out in Houston, and then we moved here in 8th grade. And because my sister, who was in 10th grade at the time, during Katrina, she was saying she wanted to go to Clark. And
Clark Atlanta.
Yeah, she wanted to go to Clark Atlanta. And then my dad, he was just like, well, that's cool. Well, we could just go ahead and move out there so he didn't have to pay out-of-state tuition. You know, so he was just like, well, we not settled here. We just was at that time, for the most part, when we moved to Houston, we was in a 1-bedroom apartment once we got our own stuff.
So y'all kind of knew that was just temporary.
Yeah, we knew because, you know, it was 1-bedroom apartment. we stayed there with my grandma, my auntie, and the 4 kids, my mama, and my daddy started working on the road, just trying to find different jobs and stuff like that at that time. And then eventually we got another apartment, but it was only like still 3 bedrooms, but it's not, still not enough for a big old family like us. Yeah, at that time, then because they had adopted my cousin, but he went back with his parents, and because during that traumatic time. But yeah, so we just knew that Houston wasn't going to be it, so it was just like, let's just take out.
So Clark is where your sister wanted to come.
Yeah.
And the whole family.
Yeah, we just
must be tight knit.
Yeah, we all tight knit. The whole family, as in like my immediate family. Like my mom,
the ones
my
you
dad.
grew up with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it must be tight knit, because that sounds like something we would do.
Like, if we're gonna go to Atlanta, let's go. Let's go. But my mom and my daddy, they had thoughts about moving to Atlanta for a while, but they just never did it. And so it was just like, well, if any time is now, so let's just do it. And
okay.
We'll make it. See what happens. Make it work.
Okay. So now you're in Atlanta.
Yes.
So how does that transition happen? Coming from, I would say Houston, but that was temporary.
Yeah.
But now you're in 8th grade.
Yeah.
The transition from New Orleans to Atlanta. How was that?
It was different at this point because I was just like, well, dang, this is my 3rd school and middle school. Like, like my 3rd school and middle school. So, that's a transitioning time for you. So, I mean, I just came to school. And at that point, when I came out here, I felt like I was in Fayette County. So, there wasn't a lot of people from New Orleans in Fayette County either.
Right.
So, I don't like to stand out in a sense. So, I just went to school, just try to do what I'm supposed to do.
Right. Okay,
keep it moving.
So in addition to going to school, right? Now I did see that you guys didn't really come up in the church, right? You didn't come up in the church.
We started. I remember when we came out here. We would go to church sporadically, and when we moved out here, our neighbors, they found out we was from New Orleans, so they like tried to take us in type of thing, and like make sure we was good, because when we first moved to the house, we didn't even have a refrigerator, so like they would come and cook for us, and they was like heavily in the church. Like,
and that's when y'all got here?
Yeah, that's when we got here. Wow. They like that our neighbors behind our house.
So they was like helping y'all get settled?
Yeah, they was helping us get settled. They invited us to church, and like we went to church with them a few times, and it was one of those run around the church shouting church.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah, one of those, but it's small. It was Baptist. It was a Baptist. Yeah, it was a Baptist church.
Whoa,
they still like they still running around. And I remember my little brother. If I was in 8th grade, he had to be like in 3rd or 4th at that time. We would go to church sometimes. My mama used to just go because she was just like, well, I mean, what is gonna hurt? I'm gonna go. But we would go to church with them, and my brother would see them running around, and his eyes just lit up, and he's like, "Mom, can I run?" And she was just like, go ahead and just come back. Like, I can't tell you.
It really gets in the mind of a child to like exercise.
Yeah, it's just like,
that's really all they do.
Because usually, my little brother, he probably had ADHD, doing his things, little black boy stuff. But he's sitting in there, he's seeing all these people getting up and running.
Yeah,
I want to run too.
Yeah, right.
I want to run too. So we would go to church with them, and then I remember a few times, like my mom, she was still like reserved in a sense. Like every time we go to church, she just sit there and just, I don't know, she just wasn't feeling it or like what. But our neighbors who we would go with, they used to do altar calls and stuff like that. I remember her coming back. It was just like, come, I pray for you, sis. I pray for you. I pray for you, Shalette. I pray for you. And then like she would pull her to the altar too. And then my mom was like, well, I gotta go to work. So, like if she would ask us, do y'all want to stay? Or you want me to drop y'all off, or you're gonna ride back home with them, or like what? And sometimes we would stay, and then sometimes it would just be like, well, if you leaving, we leave. Right. We ain't just sitting there like.
Right.
We don't do this. We don't do this. Like, I don't know. We don't know. I was like, we only go to church with grandma, and on the holidays. Right. So.
Well, I mean, and honestly, sometimes that's a lot better for people when they come into the word. Sometimes it's good not to have nothing to base anything off of. You know what I'm saying? Because it's harder to pull tradition and false doctrine out.
But what's crazy about that is all the schools that we went to, I remember my parents tried to put us in private schools as long as they can. We went to Christian schools. My little brother went to a Catholic school. My brother and my sisters were at Catholic school. We went to Catholic summer camps, and I went to, me and my sisters, the 3 girls, we went to a non-denominational Christian school, and that's where I learned the most songs. Like, you know, it was, we had to do learn scriptures, memorize scriptures and stuff like that. We used to get scripture awards. I can't remember them same scriptures today. I don't remember, you know, I don't remember anything, but like we used to go, that used to be our church at the school. So we didn't go to church on Sunday.
Right, well,
so,
that makes sense though.
So, but we used to be there doing that. The only time, like, my grandma would call us and say, let's go to her church. And she used to make us go to Vacation Bible School. Right? Yeah, well, that grandmother is in St. Charles Parish. So she's in the country. So she will make us go to Vacation Bible School every once in a while with her. And I remember that's when we wanted to, like, me and my big sister and my little sister was all in Vacation Bible School. And the last day, they was just like, who ain't been baptized? And so we were. And we just like, you know, me, my sister, and like maybe 2 other people raised their hands, but everybody else is a small town. So, you know, everybody else been in the church all their life. They've been baptized, you know, as a child and stuff like that. So we raising our hand like, something must be wrong. We need to get baptized. Like, we need to get baptized. So we went home telling my mama, like, we're going to get baptized. We're going to get baptized. Everybody else got baptized. Let's go get baptized. Like, you know. And I remember my sister, my big sister, she had just put a little red rinse in her hair. But she was the first one in there to turn that water red. She turned that water red. What was in there? But that was the most times we ever went to church.
Right. Okay.
Vacation Bible School time.
Okay. So you did kind of experience a little bit.
A little
Not
bit.
a lot, but I'm saying.
I didn't learn nothing
like
from
the curricular things.
Yeah.
No, nobody ever learns anything in church. I didn't. I mean, some people do. I didn't really. I just learned what not to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So bringing you back to Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Now you're in 8th grade, moving through school. How is the adjustment here?
It was different a little bit, but I mean, like I said, I try to stay to the back and just do what I can do. Play basketball for a little bit, and you know, I play basketball. I was in the choir, and just try to do what I can and make good grades, make decent grades.
You in the choir where at school?
At school,
is that right? Oh, okay.
I've been in choir on bill for like all my life.
Like chorus or something?
Yeah, chorus.
Okay. Yeah. So now, you mentioned being married.
Yeah.
And most people don't know that, they know now.
Yeah.
That this is Brother Rashad, your high school sweetheart. Is that correct?
Well, we wasn't high school sweethearts, but you know, something like that. So when I came here, I met him in 8th grade. I met him in 8th grade. Okay. He said, "See, this is a discrepancy. I don't remember. He got a better memory than I do. So I remember meeting him on the bus. He remembers meeting me at the school because we lived like 5 minutes away from each other. So he remembers meeting me at the school, but I don't remember meeting you till I was on a bus or whatever. So we met in 8th grade, and we weren't, you know, 8th grade have teams and stuff like that. We weren't on the same teams or nothing like that, but we just ride the bus together. And we didn't really talk in 8th grade. 9th grade, we had the same homeroom, and we had the same homeroom from 9th up until 12th grade. And every once in a while, he would ride the bus, but for the most part, he really didn't, because he had football practice, and then, you know, JB he had just graduated from high school when we came into high school, so he knew people or whatever, so I guess he would catch rides or however he would get to school, so I would only see him, like, when we had homeroom and stuff like that. And he liked me back then, but I didn't like him. We didn't start liking each other mutually until like senior year.
Senior year?
Yeah. But we didn't start dating until freshman year in college. So.
Right, okay.
So we've been cool, we've been friends, and then, you know, it's like he's been around. We've been always, you know, always been around since 8th grade. He was one of the first people I met when I came out here.
Is that right? Okay. And I asked that because and one day I'm gonna get his story.
Yeah.
But I asked that because Rashad is his father, Brother Derek, which most people might have saw his interview. But Brother Derek was more so brought them up in the church.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he also kind of had them awaken a little bit. Like when I interviewed Brother Derek, I didn't know he had already knew about the Israelites. He had tried this years ago.
I didn't know that until I saw that.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So, so they had some type of structure. Not, I wouldn't say, I'm gonna say structure what they follow.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna say churches,
right?
Because what they was giving us, I mean, it's a lot of stuff going on in these churches. They had some type of religious background,
right?
Okay, so you guys are seeing each other, right? You guys are seeing each other, and eventually, you graduate from school, go to college, right? So what happens in between that time? Because you came into the Word, So
that time, my freshman year in college, I was at Savannah State University. Me and my sister going to school together. She was a senior, I was a freshman. We tried to go to church together. We tried to find different churches and stuff like that.
Like what
just
made
because
you?
we knew that something, it just was the thing to do. And it was just like, well, we didn't go to church growing up, so let's try to figure out what we was missing. Like, my daddy's family was Methodist. Well, my dad's side of the family is Methodist, and then everybody else in our family is Baptist. So we got a little bit of different churches, and like my best friend, and my cousin, she's Catholic, so I used to go to church with them. But I was just like, this is weird. This is weird, and I don't know. They would try to they was like, oh, you from New Orleans? You're not Catholic? Because most of everybody in New Orleans is Catholic.
Haitians.
It's Creole type of thing. Yeah, and most of everybody in New Orleans is Catholics. And every time, we'll be riding a bus, riding a city bus. They got the nuns. Every time you pass the church, they're doing the cross. Doing all of that.
Like
every time every time we pass the church, we used to go. Me and my sister went to a summer acting camp, but we used to catch the city bus to go there or whatever. And I used to think like this. I didn't know, because I didn't know much about Catholics or nothing like that. I just see this lady, and she would put through the little cross every time we pass the church, and I'm like, okay, well, this is weird. We seen so many different religions, and that's another thing my parents did. They was just like, my mom grew up in a church, was in church basically every day of the week, and so she was just like, I'm not doing. She was just like, I'm not doing that to y'all, and I won't restrict y'all from doing what you believe, because I think that she just realized everything that ain't right, and they got to be something else, and so she wouldn't force us. She was just like, y'all could be. I could teach you how to be a good person, and you decide if you want to be a religious person or per se or not.
So at this point, you and your sister, right?
Yeah, me and my sister, we went
looking.
We went to the A and B churches, everybody.
Well, did y'all feel like something was missing or something?
I feel like at that time I was going because my sister was going. She might have felt like something was missing. Now, at
this point, are you and Rashad seeing each other?
No, we're not seeing each other then.
So you don't start.
We were talking and stuff like that. We talking and everything, but we're not officially dating. So
okay. So there's no religious thing being brought up.
No, we don't. We ain't talking about religion or nothing back then. Back then, we didn't start talking about religion.
Because he was going to church at that time.
Yeah, we didn't. But at that time, our freshman year, he was at GMC, so in Millersville type. So he wasn't at home, but he was, So, but we were talking and stuff like that, but we just was church hopping. We just church hopping, me and my sister.
Well, how'd it go?
I mean, we went to church for the same thing. It's kind of like the same thing that we did when we were growing up, except this time we would go to a different church. We went to the First Baptist Church in Savannah. We went to the First Methodist Church, First African Methodist Episcopal, I think what it is, First A&B Church out there. We just would try in different churches, and none of them really stuck. So after that, we stopped going.
Right, so that kind of pulled you back.
Yeah, we just kept doing what we were doing.
Okay, so now bringing me up to speed as to what happened in between that time to introduce you in the Word. And at that time, how old are you now?
At that time, I'm 17, 18. I went to college at 17, and I made 18 in college. And then, after that, I transferred schools, transferred to Valdosta. My sister moved back home to New Orleans. with my people or whatever. And my first year, I'm gonna say my first freshman year because I'm a 5-year student. But my first year at Valdosta, I would just go do the little church things on campus. And because they got all types of things, and I was just like, let me see, these are black people going. I'm at a PWI, so I'm like, these are black people doing church stuff on campus, so I'm gonna go check them out every once in a while and see what they're talking about. And then I stopped at my freshman year. Then it wasn't until going into my junior year that I was like, okay, I'm gonna go start looking for a church on my own in Valdosta. And I remember I was posting on Twitter, what churches y'all go to out here? What's the good church? What's this church?
But at this point, you're in Valdosta.
Yeah.
That's where Savannah State is?
No, Savannah State is in Savannah. But after my freshman year, I transferred from Savannah State to Valdosta State, which is in Valdosta.
Okay. Because I was wondering, Savannah State, how you in Valdosta?
Yeah,
okay.
I did
so
1 year.
I did
1 year in Savannah, and then I finished out my college undergrad in Valdosta.
Okay.
So
now you're looking for churches.
Yeah, I'm looking for churches for myself. I want to go to church, and then at that point, I'm talking to Rashad, and at that point, when I moved to Valdosta, we started dating. I moved to Valdosta probably July. We started dating in September. And one of the first gifts he gave me was a Bible. Really? So yeah,
How did you?
I didn't open it too much. I was just like, well, okay, I guess he's a good man because he's giving me a Bible. Well, this is good. I mean, it didn't make me want to read more. It just made me feel like, well, okay, well, he gotta be something good, gotta be from him,
Right,
So because he's trying to be right, and then I was just like, okay, well, let me just try and try to find a church at least out here, because he would ask me every Sunday when they would go to church, when he'll be back home and everything, he was like, I prayed for you, did you go to church? And I'm like, no, I ain't go to church. So I'm just like, okay, well, maybe I should try to find a church and try to see what else I'm missing.
I know now he's glad he didn't go to church.
I was just like, let me see what I've been missing. So, I ended up finding a church in Valdosta. And I would go there. And I went there up until I graduated. And then after I graduated, I moved to Jacksonville. And then I was trying to find, moved to Jacksonville for a year because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my degree or nothing like that. I didn't know, just a gap year trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And I was moved there with one of my best friends and another girl, and me and my best friend at the time, she grew up kind of in the church, in the Sunday church, still Sunday church out to this day. And so we living together, and she's just like, we could go to church. And we went to college together too. She was in Valdosta with me. And after I found the church that I was going to in Valdosta, she would come with me too. But it still was like, I was just like, I like this church, but I still wasn't getting anything from it. But I was just like, maybe it's just because I haven't been in church so long. Maybe because, they still shouting. And when I would go to church with my friend, she's sitting right next to me, hallelujah, praise God, doing all of that. I was just like, what am I missing? Why am I not doing this? And then I remember one specific Sunday I went to church, and it was around close to the finals, when I realized that I wasn't going to be graduating on time or whatever. So I'm just depressed in a sense. So we went to church, and they had an altar call, and I'm just like, okay. She went up to the altar, and I was just like, okay, still just sitting there I don't know. I was like, okay, well, let me go up to the altar too and see what's happening. And so I go up to the altar, and this lady's like, what do you want me to pray for you for? And I was just like, I don't know. I was just like, I don't know. Now that I'm up here, I just seen everybody going up here, and I was like, I guess school because I'm stressed. I was just like, I guess school because I'm stressed. And then if anybody know me, I'm a crybaby. So when I don't like I said, I don't like the spotlight pressure type thing being on me specifically at one time. So she's doing this, and I'm just like, I don't know, this is weird. So I just start crying. I was just like, okay, well, I don't know why I'm crying, but and they put some oil on my head, and then we went back to my seat. So I was just like, just there. Like,
that's
okay.
Amazing. So what happened after that? Did you stay in church or?
Yeah, I stayed. Like I said, I
kept going there.
I kept going there. And this was like right before my last year, because it took me an extra year after that. So I would still go to that church.
Well, how you knew you was? Now this in Jacksonville now, right?
No, this was in Valdosta. Yeah.
Okay. Now how were you able to decipher or determine whether or not at that time whether you were missing something or not? Because what they were doing. Like you saw them jumping and shouting.
Yeah, I was just like something must be missing and I'm starting to question myself. I was like, something must be wrong with me because I'm not feeling the same spirit that you're feeling.
Right.
And I remember like growing up, my grandfather, who is anti-church to this day, he would tell me like most of the people that be jumping around, and he was like, it's mostly women out there that be jumping around, running around, screaming like that. He was just like, they out there, they want to show you off their new outfit, their new hat that they got. So that's what they doing. So I'm like, I don't know if that's in the back of my mind too.
Right.
And again, I don't like to be in the forefront of everything. So I'm just like, well, this is not me. So is this something that I'm missing? Is it something that's wrong? Like, again, that's wrong with me?
Well, you said something. You said I wasn't getting anything.
Yeah.
And at that age, a lot of people around that age don't even know that you should be going to church to get something.
Right.
And you should be getting understanding. You should be getting taught. You know what I'm saying? So wasn't nothing wrong with you. I'm sure you see that now.
Yeah, but back then I was just like, at that time I was 21 or something like that, or 19, something like that, around them ages. But I'm like, again, I'm thinking that there's something wrong because I'm not understanding, I'm not getting it,
Right.
I'm just there listening to the scripture.
Yeah, Lord didn't have you falling for that nonsense.
And just keep it going.
Do it.
Yeah, but then when I moved to Jacksonville, I still, again, was like, okay, I got to find a new church. I got to find a new church that I like. We went to one church. I remember one of the first churches we went to, because me and my friend would go find a church because she was just like, I like the church that you went to in Valdosta, so we might like the same type of church. So we went to one church. The man get up there. He, got his reserved parking spot in the front. He pulling up, it wasn't a mega church, but it was like a mid-sized church. But he getting up, everybody praising God, praising you as he walking up to the stage and walking up, and I just see him, he had this big old chain on, this nice little watch and everything, and we just sitting around, me and my friend, we was just like, something ain't right here. This ain't it. Like, and at that moment, like, we couldn't even listen to the lesson because it was just like, I'm looking at all these people around here. They're looking at you. It kind of look like, they praising you in a sense. So we're like, this ain't the church we're gonna look for. Right. We start going to another church. It was kind of a mega church. It was sized like a mega church, but it didn't have a mega church population. So it was just like, okay, well, this is cool. This could be cool maybe because there's not a lot of people in here, so we could see what's going on. But then it wasn't anything outlandish out of any other church, but they just gave me weird vibes. So it was just like, okay, well, this ain't it either. So then we start going to like one of the non-denominational churches that one of our coworkers told us about, and it was one of those.
So clearly you seeking.
Yeah.
Like this is the seeking process.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out. And then I got Rashad on my back, like telling me I pray for you. He going to church here and stuff like that.
You say you praying for me.
He praying for me.
I need to get in church.
Like I'm just like, I need to do something. But I was like, I'm not doing nothing crazy. I'm not doing nothing wrong. I'm literally treating people. I don't treat people bad. I'm, doing everything, taking care of me, my family, making sure, doing what I can do in a sense. So I was just like, okay, well, the only thing that I could think of I'm not doing is going to church. So let me fix that too and go to church, go to somebody's church. But we went to the ones with dim the lights, whole concert churches. Yeah, so it was just like, okay, just find a whole bunch of churches, but none of them stuck. And I remember one time coming back, I used to come back, just on breaks and stuff like that. And I took Rashad to one of the churches that I was going to out here. And he was just like, no, this church, he was just like, your church is trying to get us for the money or something like that. Like, because they was trying to build a new building.
Right.
So, and I was just like, no, I don't think that. well, maybe, I don't know. Like, he was just like, no, you need to come to my church. You need to come to my church.
And that's when he was going to that church.
Yeah.
So you went over there.
Yeah.
And you probably felt the same way?
Yeah, I'm still like, well, maybe again, it's something I'm missing. At the whole time of me searching, I'm like, maybe it's something wrong with me. I got to be missing something. Maybe it's just because I didn't grow up in the church. So maybe if I just keep going, it's something going to click.
Well, clearly now, the Lord says, "Seek and ye shall find."
Yeah.
And what we have to realize is that in order for you to seek, man, you gonna have to go to different places.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that spirit get on you where you know like something wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like when I was at World Changes, I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do, so we just went home.
Right.
And we stayed home. We didn't go back no more.
Right.
You know, we had been, in that for some time. We had been following this guy for some years.
Right.
But the Lord put a spirit on me, and I just didn't know what to do. I said, so, well, we're going to stay home because we found out the Sabbath, it was on Saturday, Friday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We found out some other things. But that's the point. You have to look. Mm-hmm. So you're on this journey looking, right?
Yeah.
Now, like I say, eventually you come into the truth.
Right.
How did that take place?
So every time, I'm dating Rashad, every time I go by their house, his dad would sit us down and read scriptures to us and try to explain the Bible to us and, explain the Bible. Mostly, I feel like he probably was just doing that to me because, I know he did that to his sons on another basis. But when I came over, I don't know if Rashad ever told him that I don't go to church. I don't know if he could just see that or just know that I don't go to church or just doing it just out of the kindness of his heart because I was gonna be around type of thing. So he would sit down and read to us and try to explain stuff to us and I would just be like, all right, and keep it moving. I'm not about to, I was like, I'm not about to be disrespectful and leave while he talking or whatever. But I was like, I'm gonna listen and just keep it going. But again, I kept doing whatever I wanted to do. So it started coming into the truth. I had just left Jacksonville, moved back here, and moved in with my dad. My dad was moving back here to Atlanta and everything, so it was just like, okay, well, it's cool. Finding jobs and stuff like that. And at that time, I found a job. I was working with my dad at a car dealership and making the most money I'd ever made in my entire life, selling cars. So I was just like, all right, cool. So then I remember my father-in-law, he was talking about, he told him that he not going to church no more. And I'm not thinking nothing big of it because I'm like, hey, hell, I don't go to church. Right. Well, maybe he just figured, I was just like, well, I don't not go to church. I'm not thinking twice about it. Keep doing what I'm doing, what I'm doing. So then I remember Rashad at JB, every once in a while they would talk about their daddy to me. It was like, he going crazy or something. Something wrong. They call him a tinfoil head, all kinds of stuff. It's like something wrong. He just, and that's the time when he was seeking, trying to figure it out. So I'm still doing what I'm doing. Rashad's still, doing what he's doing. Then at that time, Rashad was playing football, and I remember the first couple of times they came to church and Rashad started telling me something something about the Sabbath, and I was just like, I didn't read the Bible, so I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. Yeah, I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna just keep going to work and do what I'm doing. Learn whatever you can learn, and then good for you. Good for you. So I remember what made me think all right, this is real. Something real was when Rashad quit football. And
he's gonna give a chance. He's gonna get a chance to tell us that story, but he was on his way.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, that's when I was just like, because this is something that he been working for since all his life, since he was 6 years old. So so I was just like, okay, something got to be different. I remember when he told me, he was just like, I'm gonna quit, and I was just like, what? What you mean you gonna quit after all the obstacles that we've been going through, and this is it. I was like, this is it. He was like, you sure you gonna quit? You serious right now? And so I was just like, okay, well, go ahead and quit. You keep going to church. I'm gonna keep going to work. I'm gonna keep going to work and just doing what I'm doing. I remember he told me he was getting baptized. He was just like, stuff gonna change. He was just like, I know. He was like, you might not see changing me just yet or whatever, but he was just like, I'm on the way, you know, making some changes and stuff like that. And I was just like, well, good for you.
Because I'm going to work.
Yeah, I was just like, well, good for you. I didn't think that I was doing anything wrong.
Right.
And, you know, he was just like, you know, I'm going to get baptized and da-da-da-da. And I was just like, okay. I remember when he got baptized, I asked him if he wanted me to come. He was just like, no, it's all right. And I was just like, because I was like, I have to take off from work, so let me know. If I'll take off from work. He was like, no, it's all good. Because at this point, I didn't realize, like, you know, what it was. And I was just like, okay. And I remember he sent me a video of him getting baptized. I'm looking at it while I'm at work. I'm like, oh, congratulations. Look good. You keep doing you, I'm going to keep doing me. You know?
You thought.
So I thought. And so I remember one day, it had to be Feast of Pentecost. He came by my house or something like that. And this was this was the time where he you know, they still fresh in the word, so they didn't know that, you know, you could do your pleasures and stuff on, you know, some of the some of the high days. So I remember he came by my house. We watching a Tupac documentary or something like that. My daddy, you know, sitting on the sofa, we sitting at the kitchen table talking and stuff like that. I don't know if we was watching Tupac or I played some Tupac, and he was just like, it's a Sabbath. And I was just like, okay. Like, okay. And then I remember his brother, his dad, like, you don't need to be over there. They're not doing the same things we doing. So, you know, and I'm like, this is brand new to me because at this point, we've been rocking for some years now. What you mean? You can't come over here and
How
stuff
long y'all
like
been
this.
together by this time?
This was 2018, so it was 6 years.
Oh, wow.
You know,
so this is like a drastic change.
Yeah, so I'm like, what you mean? And he was just like, see, they fussing at me right now because I'm over here. And, you know, and he was like, you just playing, listen to your Tupac or whatever. And I was just like, well, what the hell? What you know?
Where does it go?
What am I missing? What am I missing? And he's just like, I gotta go. And I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'll see you later. And so I was just like, you know, I'm mad at that point because I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
Like, when I was just like, okay, well, I'm not gonna get, you know, I can't get too mad. It's something that they whole house is doing at this point. So we just gonna either stick it out.
I will admit that what they did was drastic. And what I mean by that, it's like once Brother Derek got it, the boys, it was over. And even Rashad told me, it was like, it ain't no other way.
Right.
You gonna be with me, you gonna have to follow my guide. And I was like, dang, dude, you just came to church.
Right. And that's my mindset too. I'm like, what are you doing?
But that's how you know, like when it's the real deal, you know. It ain't like, I ain't gotta think about this.
Right.
I know this it. But I'm sorry, go
No,
ahead.
you're good. But so I'm like feeling some type of way. So I was like, okay, whatever. During the week, the next, you know, after the high Sabbath, he came back and it was just like, okay, and I was just like, so what's up? Like, what's happening? And he tried to explain stuff to me, but you know, at that time he's still learning, so you know, he's not explaining. He didn't want to explain too much to me because I didn't know, and then I don't think that he didn't want to confuse himself trying to explain to me or whatever.
Right.
So, you know, we just kept going on, and then I remember probably the next Sabbath, I would text him, I would be calling him while he was at church, and he was just like, at one point he stopped answering for me. So again, I'm pissed off. Because I'm like, I was like, I'm out here working and I can still hit you back up. So what you mean you still at church? Like, you know, because in my mind, I'm not thinking that we here all day.
Right.
Like, you know, so I'm like, what type of church is this? Like, what you mean you can't even, he was just like, well, I'll hit you up after Sabbath. And I'm like, well, what you mean you can't even talk to me? And he was just like, then one day he called me, he was just like, well, you know, it's something different. And, you know, last time was the feast days, he was just like, it's fun. And, you know, he was like, it's a party. And like, Rashad don't party. So I was just like, what you mean? You want to go to a party? Like, at a party at the church. And he started like describing everybody and telling me what happens basically at feast. So I was just like, okay. And, you know, feast at that time, that feast is like towards the summertime. Yeah. So, you know, so that's when I was just like, okay, well, one of these days I'll go, and he would send me lessons and stuff like that, and I used to be listening to him on the way to work.
So you would be listening?
Yeah, every once in a while, but
really?
It wasn't
it wasn't really clicking.
Yeah, it wasn't clicking, and I was just like, well, I'm gonna just listen to it. But I was like, man, this make me sleepy, and I'm driving, and I was driving like an hour away from work to work, so I was just like, I would listen to a little bit and then play my music, and and I remember one Saturday, I was on the way to work, and he sent me this lesson from Bowie, and I think it was a Black History lesson, and I was like, he know that like I'm so into Black history, so he, called me Sister Soldier or whatever. So he sent me that class, and I'm just like, okay, talking about we Hebrews and stuff like that, and I'm just like, okay, whatever that means, because again, I don't read the Bible, I don't even know what a Hebrew is, so so I'm just like, okay, all right, that's fine. And I was just like, all right, at that time I made it a point in my mind. I was like, I'm gonna go to church next week.
You said he called you Sister
Yeah, he called me Sister Soldier because
really?
in college I was in all the Black groups, all the Black organizations that you could be in except for Greek.
So when you got this, that's smart, pretty smart, because you ain't no Greek. So I was smart. So when you got that, when you got the Hebrew stuff, when you listened to Bowie, now how was that? Was it
just at that point?
A little bit?
At that point, it didn't make sense, because I'm driving, so I'm like listening, but I'm not really listening. So I was like, I'm gonna have to go and try this again. It made me intrigued in a sense. Oh, okay. So that just sparked the interest. That's what made me. I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to church. I'm gonna go to church with either this next week or the following after. And I remember Rashad told me, he was like, well, I'm gonna be going to Jacksonville, he's like, I'm going with the crew or whatever. So I was just like, okay, the perfect time, because I don't want to go there when he there, because I don't want to go for him. So so I was just like, let me just go. He said he going to Jacksonville. I didn't even tell him that I was even thinking about coming or nothing. I just morning of, I went. The morning of, I told him, but that Friday before, I was going to work, and I was thinking about it all day. I was just like, well, I'm probably gonna go to church. And that Saturday before, when I said, when I was listening to Bowie lesson on the way to work, I sold the most cars that I ever sold in one day. That day,
really?
That day, I sold 5.5 cars. So that process is long. So selling 5, I was hustling. So so I was just like, well, dang, this is crazy. Basically, in my thinking back, it made me think are you ready to get us up? Really? So yeah.
Was all type of things happening, good things happening?
It was I was like, okay, I'm getting my fix. I'm figuring it out. I'm like, because my goal was, I was like, I know I'm not trying to be in the car industry for so long, but I was just like, my goal is I don't want to ask nobody for anything and I don't want to take out any loans when I go to grad school, because at that point I was like, well, this is just, I know I want to go to grad school, so I was like, I'm going in here. I told my daddy what I wanted to do, and he was like, you could do this, you could come out here, you could do it, so let's do it. And he would help me, we working in the same building, and he was the finance manager, I'm a salesperson, so wherever he can, he'll help me, but for the most part, I'm out there, I'm figuring it out, and I'm like, I'm hitting my goals. I'm seeing the most money I had ever seen in my savings in my checkings account. So I'm like, okay, I got accepted into grad school. Things are going good. I'm like, I'm on a mission. So that day was just like, are you ready to get us up, in a sense? So I didn't tell my managers what I was thinking. I didn't tell my dad. I didn't tell anybody for real what I was thinking, and that I was thinking about going. But that next Friday, I sat down with, I just made sure, I was like, which manager I'm going to talk to, because if you know anything about that type of business, Saturdays, that's the day. That's the day they need all hands on deck. You making the most money, and I don't want to hear nothing. You better be dead if you ain't coming to work. You are somebody in your immediate family, and then you better come to work after the funeral, in a sense. So so I was just like, okay,
that's how intense it is.
So that Friday, I was sitting there, and I just waited all the way to we was about to close, and I talked to one of my managers that we was coolest with, and I was just like, so I'm not gonna be here tomorrow. It's for I'm going to church. I don't know what I'm doing, what it is, but if it's stick, I'm not gonna be able to work on Saturdays. And because at that point Rashad told me,
Whoa.
you need to be here on Saturdays. So I was just like, okay. I'm telling him, and this guy, that manager, he's a Muslim, but he was just like, I was trying to explain to him. I was just like, something about the Sabbath, and I don't really know. But I'm going to figure it out. And if there's something that I'm going to commit to doing, I can't commit to being at work. So I don't know if this is going to work, but if it does, I'm just letting you know.
Well, that's pretty bold. How old are you at this time?
24.
So, I mean, just coming from somebody your age, the younger generation, your age, and being able to just address that like that.
It was, like I said, I cried.
Oh, you cried again?
Yeah, I told you I'm a crier.
When you was on the spot?
Yeah, when I was talking to him, it was like a silent tear or whatever. So, so it wasn't like it wasn't boohoo crying, but I was just like, because this is nerve wracking to me, because I'm like, I really don't know. I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm about to do. Right. And like I knew that I got accepted into grad school, so I knew I wasn't gonna be working at this job past August at the latest. So I was just like, okay, so well, but still, the summertime, I'm gonna make some money. This is my last chance to make as much money as I can. So is this really what I'm about to do? But he took it well. He was just like, well, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, Sid, then just let me know how it goes. But then he Muslim, so he was just like, I know they're gonna teach you the Bible, but he was just like, have you ever looked at the Quran? And I was just like, nope, I haven't. Like, I haven't even thought about it, because it's not something that I would think about. He was just like, well, just go ahead and check it out and tell me what you think about after you go to church and all that kind of stuff. And he was just like, just compare it or whatever. And I was just like, all right, cool, whatever. So that same day, I went into my daddy's office after I talked to my manager, and I was just like, Daddy, told him basically the same thing, and at this point I'm crying because I'm in front of my dad, because then I was just like, I don't really know. And he was just like, so what you gonna, it's a 7-day Adventist church? Because my dad, although he doesn't go to church, he knows a lot about churches, right? So he was like, it's a 7-day Adventist. I was like, no, I don't think it's a 7-day Adventist church, but they go to church on Saturdays and keep the Sabbath and stuff like that. And he was just like, I said something about being Jews or Hebrews or something like that. And he was just like, well, he told me that the people there, that the fake Jews are fake Jews, basically.
Your daddy told you that?
My daddy told
me. When you came and
when I came him. And I was just like, at this point, I don't really even know. And I was like, Daddy, that's what they said. That's what everybody in my family called Rashad Derek. So I was like, that's what Derek said. Like, I said, that's what he told me too. And he was just like, all right, Sid, well, they're gonna give me trouble for that. And I was just like, yeah, I know. And he was just like, well, he asked me if I talked to my other manager, and I was just like, yeah. And he told me, he gave me the cool, he gave me the okay. So he was just like, all right, well, if you go, just don't let nobody fool you.
Right.
And go ahead and just let me see how it goes. So I went, and I remember Brother Joseph was teaching the class. I can't tell you what the class was on, because I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening. I just walked in, and I was just like, I'm here. This is the first step. And again, what the hell am I doing? Like, what the hell am I doing? So, like, the whole time while the lesson going on, I'm like looking around, just observing everybody. And Rashad had told me I had to put something on my head. He was like, well, you ain't got to put nothing on your head, but everybody else, all the other women in there gonna have something on your head. So I'm like, all right, well, let me just go ahead and put something on my head too, because I want to fit in. So I was just like, I'm not about to, I don't want to stand out.
Because what my stance is. Yeah. I wait till you get in, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's what he like, because at first he would tell me, he was just like, well, you need to put your head covering, put something on your head, put something on your head. And then I think that somebody mentioned, like, don't force them to.
Yeah, I tell them.
So,
because you come to church and you see that, and you putting something on your head, you don't know what it's about, you're not going to listen to the class. You're going to be wondering, what is this crap on my head? Right. So I try to teach them and let them know, based on how I was taught, just kind of, they'll hear the announcements at the end of class. You know what I'm saying? So.
But I'm just sitting there, I'm just listening, or trying to listen, but I'm really looking around like, I don't know, because, again, I'm not in church. I don't go to church. So I'm sitting there like, okay, cool. So after church, I remember JB came. He was introducing me. He introduced me to your wife. And the first thing your wife told me, she was like, oh, you came on a short day. And I was like, short? We've been here for an hour and a half. What you mean short? Like, I didn't say that, but in my head, I'm like, we've been in here like an hour and a half and this ain't over? Like, this is short. And I was just like, oh, okay. Okay. I was like, okay.
We go 3 hours.
Okay. I was like, okay, cool. Okay, nice to meet you. And I'm thinking, like, in my head, like, what the hell am I doing?
Right.
Like, again. So after that, JB took me in the car and he was talking to me and he was just like, well, you know, and he's telling me, him and Rashad told me, he's like, well, you ain't got to stay, but if you want to stay, we can stay. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I was just like, well, I'm probably going to go home. Mm-hmm. So, but he's sitting there talking to me. And again, pressure's on. I'm starting to cry. And I was just like, I said, Johnny, I don't even know why I'm crying, but I'm just in here crying. Like, I was just like, I said, I don't know, this is just overwhelming and this is a lot. I don't know. And this is, you know, and he started trying to explain, he was explaining a little bit of the book to me, but he was just trying to bring me comfort in a sense.
Yeah, at the same
like,
time.
Yeah. So, and then after I got out the car with him, the dad started talking to me. He was just asking me about the lesson, and I was just like, I don't really know. I don't know. But he started explaining to me more because, again, you know, he had already been explaining the Bible to me for at least a year or two now at that point, you know. So he's trying to explain stuff to me. I was just like, all right, cool. I'm about to go. And then he was just like, well, come on inside. And, you know, somebody got, you know, we're going to figure out something with your food and stuff like that. And I was just like, well, you know, I don't eat meat, so I ain't got no, you know, I ain't got no reason to stay. I'm gonna go ahead and go home. I know we can't buy nothing, but like that morning I was just like, all right, Rashad told me we can't buy nothing, but I'm gonna go ahead. I got me some, I got like a microwavable burrito. I was like, let me go ahead and make that. I said, I can't go get no breakfast or whatever. I was like, I'm trying to do right. I was like, I'm trying to do what he said. But I didn't know that you couldn't heat up nothing either. I was just like, but I just know we can't buy nothing. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and go home at this point. And then I remember Mika she came up to me. She was like, you don't eat meat? I don't eat meat either. We can make you a salad. We can make something for you. And basically, I had no reason to not stay and not go. So I was just like, okay. So sat there, talked to them a little bit. Then Bible study came. I'm sitting in Bible study, trying to listen. Okay, but I'm still like, well, what am I doing here? This is like a culture shock for me. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Did that. I was like, all right, I'm going to just go back. I was like, well, they didn't give me no weird vibes or nothing like that. So I'm going to just go back and try it again. And then I went back to work, and the same manager, he was just like, you check out the Quran? And I was just like, no. But I'm going to go back to that church on Saturday, so I ain't going to be here. And he was just like, well, all right then, cool. And so I came back the next class, and I listened a little bit more, and stayed for Bible study. I think it wasn't up until like the third time I came. When I came in, they was doing Bible study. I remember DeMarcus and Justin was doing Bible study, and DeMarcus had taught a class, and he mentioned something about the 3 heavens or something like that. And so Justin was doing Bible study, and he was asking for questions, and I was just like, well, I guess I got a question. You know, and I asked him about the 3 heavens, and Justin explained that to me, and that's when I really started listening. You know, and that's when I started like, okay, let me learn something. Let me try to open up the book or something for myself and go from there. And after that, I just been here, and at work. That, you know, at that time, this is the 3rd Saturday, so the general manager, he like, Sydney ain't been here. Where's she at? Like, where you at? And he gave me the most trouble. Everybody else, you know, was all cool with it. And like, I remember I went to work that Sunday out, and he was just like, where you been at? And I was just like, at church. I told my manager that's right above me, he told me it's cool. He was just like, well, you got to run that by me. You can't do that. You ain't going to be able to work here, you see. And like, that was June of 2018. So usually I was selling like 20 something, you know, over 20 cars a month. And that month it was just slow. Everybody's sales was low, but my sales was super low because
you weren't there Saturday.
Yeah, because I wasn't there on Saturday. So I probably had like 10 cars out towards the end of the month, because I came, I think it was like June 18th or something like that. So, you know, so he was just like, you see your numbers low, and it's because you're not here. You can't be doing this. And, you know, he was just like, you can't make your own schedule. And I was just like, look, I could work every other day, but Saturday. Usually our schedule was you get one Tuesday or Thursday off, and then every other Sunday off. And I was just like, I don't have to have any of my off days, because at this point I'm still got this mission in my mind. I gotta pay for my school. So I was like, look, I work every other day, just not Saturday. And he was just like, nah, we can't do that. We can't do that. He was just like, you can't make your own schedule unless you hitting 30, 40 cars a month. And I was just like, all right, give me this. So the month of July, he was like, your number's low. I was like, the month of July, well, we could run it like that. If I don't hit my number where I can make my own schedule by the end of July, then we could go from there. We could cross that bridge when we get there. But I didn't tell him that I was quitting anyway. So I was like, the month of July gonna be my last month. Then that's just gonna gonna be is what it is. He don't know, but I was just like, I'm just trying to make it away so I can still have my job. And he was just like, well, okay. If you don't hit your number the month of July, then you out of here. But I was just like, that works perfectly for me. That works perfectly. Anyway. Yeah, I was like, that works perfectly for me, because I already got in grad school. I'm already looking at this point. I'm looking at apartments. So so I went and told my daddy, and he was just like, well, don't tell him that. Just keep going. Just keep doing what you got to do, and just go to work where you can, and then let it go like that. So that played out. But every time I would go to work, he was just like, so the general manager, nobody else gave me any real flack about it, but except for the general manager. He was just like, so you one of the ones that don't celebrate the holidays, and you can't get gifts and stuff like that. And
now,
I was just like,
was this a brother?
Yeah, he's from Barbados, so he's like.
So he asked you, were you one of the ones that can't celebrate?
And I was like, well, I said, if you want to give me a gift, you could give me a gift, but I can't, I was like, but I'm not celebrating the holidays and nothing like that. And at that point, I didn't have a full understanding on the holy days, but I just knew that we can't celebrate the holidays. So I was just like, yeah, we're not doing that. I was just like, because you can't read it in the Bible. And I remember he had his flunky. One of the other sales managers, he was coming up to me, like, basically they was just trying to convince me that I should work on Saturdays too. He was just like, because I go to church on Sunday, Sydney, and after I go to church, where am I? I'm back here. So you could do it too. Why you can't do that? And I was just like, well, no, your church and my church don't work like they're not the same. So we can't do that like that. So he's just like, well, you're not gonna make any money. You can't. He's from Jamaica, so that's where this is coming from. But I'm like, he's like, you're not gonna make any money. You're not gonna be able to pay for school. You're gonna be asking your daddy, like, you're gonna be asking your daddy for all this stuff, and And I was just like, well, it just is what it is.
So, wait a minute. They try to talk to you at the job?
Yeah. They try to talk me into
coming to work.
Coming to work, because I was an internet salesperson, and like most of the salespeople, they're greedy and grimy. I'm not, like, I'm in it for the money, but at the end of the day,
you still got morals.
I'm not. Yeah, I was like, I'm not trying to, I would make people feel like they welcome too. And then I was the youngest woman at that time selling cars, and I'm a people person, so people like me. They never had no complaints out of me. They only had, like, I could say the damn near year I was there, probably had like 1 or 2 complaints from customers, but it was over stuff that I can't control anyways. Like, credit probably bad, but anyways. So
that was so they trying to convince you.
Yeah, they try to convince me to stay, because even to this day, if I go up there right now, they're, so you coming back?
Right.
Because and I just left the way I left too. My my family, my dad remarried to Jamaicans, so I texted him. My stepmom told me she was going to Jamaica for something, I don't know, but I was just like, well, cool, I could go. This would be my last trip before I start school and stuff like that. So this was at the end of July, probably like July 27th-ish or something like that. And she was just like, well, we going from Sunday. She was going Sunday to Saturday, and I was just like, well, as long as I come back by Friday, I should be fine. So she was like, okay, that's fine, we could do that. So that day I was supposed to be going to work, I just texted him. I was like, hey, I'm not coming here today. I'm actually not coming back ever. So it's all good. And I'm texting him as I'm going on the plane. So at that point, I got to turn my phone off. I'm going to Jamaica, so I can't. Right.
Wow.
You can't reach me after that point. But after that, like once I got up to some Wi-Fi, I got text messages and calls. He trying to, like, one of my managers, the same Muslim manager that I was talking to, he called me trying to FaceTime me like, wait, what's happening? And I was just like, well, yeah, I'm not gonna hit my numbers this month anyway, so I'm just not coming back. So, but they still, because.
But at that point, you made that decision.
Yeah, at that point, I was just like, at that point, I'm gonna keep Sabbath. This just is what it is, and I ain't got it all, but it's something clicking. So yeah.
So I know he gave you trouble at the. I know he gave you trouble.
Yeah.
The general manager, right?
Yeah.
Outside of that.
My
like
family,
your friends, did you run into any?
So the only trouble I really ran into, that's a little bit of trouble, but it wasn't like
nothing.
The main
crazy
issue
was the job.
Yeah, but my family, like I said, they trust me, and I've always been the one to make good decisions. So they're just like, well, if you doing it and you still doing it, then okay, well, it ain't, it's not causing me no harm. The only thing it was like, we had a family reunion, and then our family reunion was like in the middle of July. And I was just like, I was talking to Rashad, and he was just like, well, that's your decision if you're going to go or not, but you're not supposed to go because it's going to be on a Saturday. So I was just like, okay. So I didn't go. And that was a big thing. So, because my mom, she's just like, she's big on, my whole family's big on family. We super tight knit. So for me not to show up for something like that, and I'm always the one to show up for everything. So it's just like, okay. My sister called me, like, my little sister called me, like, fussing kind of, because she was just like, mama mad, she sad, like, she hurt in a sense because you ain't come, and what you ain't here for. And at this point, like, we was coming from church or something like that, so I had her on my car speaker or whatever, and Rashad started talking to her, and he was just like, so you can't come? Why she can't come? What you trying to do, basically, in a sense. And he was just like, well, I ain't trying to do nothing, but, the Lord said keep the Sabbath, keep it holy, and that's the, and she was just like, so you trying to choose between family and God? Like, you can't love God? She told him, you can't love God and come see your family? And she was just like, he was just like, well,
you gotta love God and family.
Yeah, he was just like, well, I'm not even here to argue with you, because I know you don't understand what we're doing. So just left it at that. And he was just like, if your sister will talk to you more about it, she could do it. But at that point, my little sister, she was just like, well, whatever, and got off the phone with me. And that was just that. And but like, I didn't start running into trouble for real with my family until recently.
Recently, like
last Christmas.
That recent.
Yeah, recently then, because again, they trust like what you doing. They trust me in my decisions. So if you're gonna do that, then I know you ain't doing nothing crazy, because it's city. So and you saw my daddy came up here that one time. Yeah, he just
stepmom did too, I think.
She came up here just to pick up my brother.
And then Sage is here all the time.
So they trust. So they trust me. They trust what I'm doing.
So what flared back up?
But
because it's been like 3-4 years now.
Yeah. So I posted something about Christmas being pagan or something like that, and my mom came back at it like on a post like, yeah, I know it's pagan, but we do this for the family and for the bringing the family together. She was just like, basically we do this for the tradition. And she was just like, Poppy, which is my grandfather, her dad, he's like, he told you that. He told y'all that. I feel like he knows a lot more than, than what I know, but I haven't asked him about it recently.
Just like your dad knows.
Yeah.
He told you about us, being Hebrew.
So she's just like, well, we doing this for the family and da-da-da-da-da. And we just going back and forth on Facebook, and I was just like, okay, we just gonna have to let it. It is what it is, because I'm not. I don't want to cause no super strife with my mom. Like I still gotta deal with her, but in the back burner, she calling Sage mom, my sister, and it's like, what's wrong with Sydney? What's going on with her? Like,
I think mentally, you need to be
what's wrong? Like, they just think that I don't know.
Like, they ask those questions like that, like something mentally going on with you. Like, no, we just here.
Exactly. And my sister, she was just like, I don't think she's doing too much different from or doing anything wrong or doing too much different from what y'all say you're supposed to be doing at Sunday church. So I don't think this is what she told me. She was like, I told him, like, she just following the Bible, and if she following the Bible a different way than y'all, then okay. Then you don't get mad at her for that. Like, it just left it at that. So,
well, that's good. That's good that you don't have that much kickback. Yeah. And then the kickback you did have, you dealt with it very wisely. So that's always good. You know, Lord make it a little smoother. And then you got Rashad. Yeah. You know, he a dog. When I say that, I'm talking about he about this word. That boy don't play about this word. Him, his father, or Johnny. Right. So them boys serious about this gospel. You know what I'm saying? So to have that support, you're gonna be just fine. You know what I'm saying?
Lord willing, keep it going. Just how praise it is. Lord. Like, it's just the only thing that I'm having trouble with my people for real is when it comes to the dietary law, because we're from New Orleans. Oh everything. Yeah. So every time we come around, it's just think like I try to give them just bits and pieces, like feed it, spoon feed it a little bit to them, and I'm just like I don't want to bash them so much to where they feel like, well, everything I'm thinking that I'm just perfect and everything
Well, like I said, you don't have to say nothing.
Yeah, I know.
You just don't do it.
Exactly.
And then the thoughts of their mind come out when they say stuff like, well, you think you're better than us. No, that's what you're thinking. And it just came out.
So what I'm saying? That's just the hardest thing, and trying to and like explaining to my mom, like, because my sister Sage's mom doesn't eat pork either, but like when Sage goes with my mom, if it's around, basically she's not making a real provision. She'll she won't hand it to him, but she'll make it for herself. But Sage, she gonna eat whatever.
Gonna eat, right?
Yeah. So so I had that conversation with her when I went to Dallas, when she was living in Dallas. Like, look, Mom, just let you know this right now. Lord willing, whenever me and Rashad have kids, we ain't gonna be able to do that. Right. And that was another like big hard hitter for her, because I was just like, well, look, we're not gonna be able to do this, and if you can't do this, if you can't respect it, then we're gonna have supervised visits with your grandkids. Right. And so and she's like I said, we super close knit. We send the kids with their grandparents, and we go on family vacations.
But you just gotta respect.
Yeah. So but so she was just like, what you mean? I'm not gonna be able to, I'm not gonna be able to see my people. And I was just like, well, look, I'm gonna just let you know this before Rashad tell you, because he gonna tell you in a not nicer way. So, so, and this is serious. I'm just letting you know. It's no love lost. I'm just letting you know. This just is what it is. And when I was in Dallas, I tried to open a book with her, and she had her NIV. TD Jakes Bible with her, so it's just like
that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, so it's just going back and forth.
It just take time. But now you coming to the word, right? What how were you able to maneuver throughout the Bible once you found out that we were Hebrews? Now your father mentioned it, right? But so it's kind of like now you're seeing it, because if you're dealing with the Bible as a whole, you're gonna see it all over the Bible, right? And like you said, they call you Sister Soldier, right?
Yeah, that's what
so that's right down your alley. Yeah. So how was it once you found out that the Bible was actually talking about a specific people being Hebrews?
It wasn't like a shell shock or nothing, because like I said, my whole family is like big on Black history, and we already know. Everybody in my family knew Jesus is Black, so we other Black people. So it just made sense, and it's just like, okay. It just gave more clarity in a sense, but it wasn't like a super like wow, because it's just like I kind of knew, but I didn't know. No, but it's just
you
like okay,
kind of had an inclination.
Yeah.
But now you can actually see the history and see it lining up with the Bible.
Right. So it was just like it was cool, and I was just like, okay, well, let's just go deeper into this, figure out what else I don't know. Right.
Well, praise the Lord for that, because. That's the mentality you have to have, you know what I'm saying? And some people, they kick against like I was saying last week, some people kick against finding out who Israel is, you know what I'm saying? But it's in there, you can't deny it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's good you was able to kind of see that and receive that without any issues, But once you got into the word, because now you in now, right? So how has it impacted your life?
It's impacting my life. I feel like I'm more happy. I'm I don't stress as much. It doesn't take away all my stress, of course, but it just give me like,
it's
okay, just keep pushing and just keep doing what you're doing. And that sense, like, made it easier like that. And whatever's gonna happen. So
because he got it all in control.
Exactly.
And I think you get that. Like I was, I can't remember where it was. It might have been Oklahoma City last week, but just bringing up the fact that I was mentioning how when the world was kind of going crazy last year, by us being in the Bible, it kind of lets us, like, we don't got to get out of control, because we know who in control. So for you to say, like, your stress level is down a lot, that's a blessing. Because that's what the word will do. It's going to comfort you, you know what I'm saying? But what about somebody that's new? How would you, what would you say for somebody that's new coming into the word?
Take it a day at a time, and don't be so quick to press it on everybody, because you don't know just what you don't know everything just yet until you have that solid foundation. Like I told you saw my friend that I brought to word. She was like, you ain't never said nothing about this, and and I was just like, well, I'm trying to figure it out first before I before I try to bring it out to somebody, and I don't want to make it come across where I'm like bashing whatever you doing or like making you feel down. And like you said, I'm gonna just lead by example in a sense. Just do what you can do. Do take it a day at a time and just.
Well, that would definitely help with like you said, keep pushing, and that would definitely help with it not being so stressful. If you just take it one day at a time.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? One day at a time, because everybody don't have the same story of coming into truth. Some situations rough. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you got these dogmatic families. You know what I'm saying? Religious families. So, it can split it up bad, but even with that, it's still good just to take it one day at a time.
Thankfully, like I said, my immediate family, we didn't go to church like that, so
that's good.
It wasn't like no crazy thing. But like I don't talk to my great aunts, and like my one side of the family is super super heavy in the church, and like we haven't had that discussion about church or God or anything just yet. But I already know when the day come, it's gonna be fun. But,
make sure you got Rashad.
It's gonna be fun. But I'm just like
he'll let you explain, but he just show reinforcement in case you need him. You know.
I already know. So it's just take it a day at a time.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't make it harder than what it needs to be. Because it could be easy. It could be.
Come to think about it, it is easy. If you just, like you say, one day at a time, like don't do more than what's necessary.
Exactly.
Just follow the book.
And don't beat yourself up about stuff that you don't know, that you didn't know. And because there's, like I said, like the first day I came to church, I was like thinking that I'm doing something right, but I'm not going to buy nothing, but I'm going to microwave something. Don't beat yourself up about it. Right. Because you're going to learn. Just keep coming. Keep coming. You get better and better. Now it's like, what, 28 now? So you came like about 24? I'll be 28 in November. So, So, almost. It'll be 4 years next June.
Yeah, now you're in the choir and all that. You know what I'm saying? But you came in at first and it was, like you said, culture shock. But you kept coming though. Because I think you've been here ever since that first time.
I haven't stopped coming for real. The only time I didn't come to this location when I was at another location.
Out of town. And you went to, So you came in, and then you see how the Lord just build on top of it. You know what I'm saying? He changes people's lives for the better. So we coming to the last part of this, and just thinking about all the different religions out here. You know what I'm saying? All the different religions, different doctrines, belief systems. What's your opinion on how things would be if people had a better understanding of the scriptures?
It would be more like, it's almost cliche, but it would be more peace and less stress in the world. And then I feel like it'll be more good people, like genuinely good people, not just doing it just to say, because look at me, I'm a good person type of good people. And it wouldn't be perfect, I don't think, but it'll be close to it. As close to it as we could. So.
It'll definitely be like you say, it'll be close to it. Because we'll be living by by the word.
Exactly. They're always gonna be having little people.
So
it ain't gonna be it ain't gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be damn near perfect.
And the crazy thing about that even with having your rebels in there, like if we living by the Bible, we even got the guy got a system set up on how to deal with them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So like
Right.
you said, be damned if perfect.
Right.
You know. So we down to the last question, and you got your Bible, so you
Yes.
ready.
Yes.
That's good, because I get tired of catching people up. You know. But when you watch it, you have an opportunity to prepare for it. So, what's your favorite book? Your favorite book, scripture, and tell us why.
Okay, so my favorite book
Mm-hmm.
is Job, because it keeps me peaceful. Like, you know, like no matter what, God is in control of the good, the bad, the ugly in between, everything in between. So, you know, I
Praise the Lord.
just read that when good things are happening, bad things are happening. He controls it all. So there's that. And my favorite scripture is Colossians 3:23. Hold on.
Wow.
23:24. Hold on. And we talked about this in the little group that the sisters
group?
Yeah,
Okay.
we did this probably a few months ago. Colossians 3:23 and 24, and whatsoever ye do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ.
Wow.
And that just keeps me like being, again, a good person and like knowing that even if people doing me wrong or like I feel like what I'm doing is unnoticed or I want to be noticed or whatever, we're not doing this for man.
Right,
So just
right.
keep it doing it. Do what you can do. Do it for the Lord.
That's funny you say that, because when I got prepared for the interview, I did want to tell you thank you, because most people may know, or at least people here, know that the choir kind of got fractured, but at the end of the day, the Lord put it on your heart to step up. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to tell you that I definitely appreciate that, and I know you do it because you're doing it for the Lord, and you're doing it heartily. So just keep that same attitude.
Right.
The Lord gonna add to it,
Right.
just a matter of time. But when everything was kind of down, the Lord put on you to step up to the plate.
I don't want to take all the credit because Katia hold us down.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you, Katia, Brother Tony, come back, Danisha.
Yeah.
It's like people I wouldn't have expected.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely, let them know the appreciation is when. I think I told you guys when I come in and tell y'all, but that just go to show, man, when you have your mind set on the Lord to do the work for God, man can't deter you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So just keep that same attitude, keep serving God. Because Brother Nate, hey, I'm a mess up. But you don't do this for me. We do this for the Lord. You know what I'm saying? All this whole walk period. So it's funny you came out with that. You know what I'm saying?
That's I pinned it on my Twitter because it's just a simple reminder.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
Because because you can get into yourself. I can get into I need this and I that.
Right. Right. And that's wisdom, man.
So
I want to definitely thank you for the interview in general. But you dropped some nuggets, man, and things that I can take from myself, because sometimes I can even forget.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So thank you for that. Thank you for taking the opportunity to share your story with us. And I pray it be a blessing to somebody. And Lord willing, we can recap this in the future.
Praise God.
Yes,
Hopefully.
thank you very much.
Thank you.